Welcome to the Bounce Method podcast, where we don't just flip properties, we flip mindsets. I'm JD Allen, Marine Corps veteran, engineering leader, and your multifamily investment mentor. If you're stuck chasing small gains, we're here to change the game. Each week, we'll dive into strategies to buy, operate, upgrade, normalize, cash flow, and exit. That's right, bounce your way to your first million. No fluff, no hype, just real talk, real deals, and real momentum. So buckle up. It's time to bounce. Buckle up because I'm about to show you a strategy that banks don't want you to understand. A strategy that helped me lock down deals when interest rates were sky high, when occupancy was low, and when the broker said, sorry, no bank's going to touch that. But I didn't need the bank. I needed one thing, a seller who wanted out and a plan to get them where they needed. This is seller financing. And if you're not using it, you are playing the wrong game. Now, right now, there are investors that are stuck. Rates are up, appraisals are down, banks are tightening, and deals that made sense a year ago, they are dead in the water. But here's the thing. The sellers are still out there. They're burned out, they're tired, they're sitting on buildings that are bleeding money. They want out. But they can't sell because the buyers are having problems getting financing. And that's where you step in. Not with a briefcase full of cash, but with creativity and control. Now, seller financing isn't a Hail Mary. It's a standard for smart investors playing chess while the rest are playing checkers. Now, let's break it down real simple. Seller financing means the seller becomes the bank. You skip Wells Fargo, Chase, Fannie, Freddie, forget all that. You agree on terms directly with the seller, like the purchase price, the down payment, the interest rate, amortization schedule, balloon payments. And here's the magic. When done right, you control the deal with less risk, less cash, and more flexibility. And they walk away with monthly income, tax benefits, and a peace of mind. Not a scam, it's not a trick, it is a win-win. And that's what we're here to build. Now, let me tell you a story about a property that the broker told me it was an impossible scenario for seller financing. I had went out, I was taking a look at the property, just so happened that the seller was there. We just sat down and had a conversation for a good portion of the day. And I just asked him some questions like, what are you wanting out of this deal? What are you trying to accomplish? How do you plan on proceeding once you do get the cash? And as the answers came back to me, I started to learn that the seller really only had a few bills that they wanted to pay off, and they wanted a monthly payment coming in to help them during retirement. This, my friends, was a perfect scenario. And if I'd have taken this property to the bank, they would have laughed at it. But sitting across from the seller, face to face, knowing exactly what they needed in order to make this deal work was perfect. No bank, no appraisals. There wasn't going to be any underwriting nightmare, and he got his income and I got the building. And 18 months after this, I refinanced this property and cashed him out. That deal, like many others that I have worked on, put money in my pocket, and it started with a simple conversation, just trying to find out exactly what the seller wanted. Now you might be thinking, why would a seller do this? But I'm going to break it down for you. They could be avoiding capital gains all in one shot. They could be getting interest on their equity. They stay in control of the collateral. They've skipped the broker fees, bank delays, and some of the headaches that come along with it. And they get out of the property on their terms. Especially when you're talking about mom and pop owners. They don't want to deal with turnover in these big institutions. They want peace of mind, not a pile of paperwork, and you give it to them. And in return, you get the deal that the bank said was an impossibility. Now, let's be real. Seller financing does take skill. You're going to hear the objections, things like, I want all my money up front. What if you stop paying me? Or my CPA says this is going to be risky. And that's where your job comes in. You don't push them, you educate, you reassure. You start structuring terms that's going to protect both parties. And you talk like a partner, not like a shark. Here's the thing. If you understand their fear, it will lead them to safety. It's all about relationships, not about manipulation. So here's what I want you to take away today. In a tight market, seller financing is the bridge between a seller's peace and your pathway to wealth. You don't need to wait for the Fed to pivot. You don't need perfect credit. You don't need $1 million bankroll. All you need is courage, conversations, and how to strike up a win-win deal that's going to make sense from day one. And if you want to master it step by step with tools, scripts, and real-world walkthroughs, then check out the Bounce Method training at www.thebouncemethod.com. This is what we teach. It's not theory. It's not fluff. Deals change lives, one handshake at a time. This is how we build wealth when others are stuck. This is how we bounce. And until next time, keep showing up, keep flipping mindsets, and keep bouncing forward.